Okay, we're on the record. Good evening. This is the East Lyme Board of Selectmen regular meeting of September 4th, 2024 in the East Lyme Hall upper meeting room. Could we rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, I'm not aware of, but are there any additional agenda or consent calendar items? All right, so we do have a consent calendar. Do I hear a motion to accept the consent calendar?
Yep. Move to approve the consent calendar for September 4th, 2024 in the amount of $19,169.88.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Just a lot of smaller amounts, one larger one from Cash Home Center, but other than that, nothing remarkable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion carries. Next on our agenda is the delegations section. So those who would wish to address the Board of Selectmen may do so during this time, the delegations time. Is there anyone that wants to address the board on any matter? Come on up and just identify yourself, name and address. We know who you are, but if you would.
Paul Spakowski, 37 Mill Road. I would like to address the fees for the leaf disposal that was discussed at a previous meeting. And at the previous meeting, I got out of it was the biggest problem was the roll-offs, being the bulk of it and not knowing where it come from and everything else. But still, I see you're trying to get the fees out of the smaller contractors with mason dumps. And to me, this is a fee that is not fair. Not fair to the people I work for. I mean, most of the people I work for are either handicapped or elderly or just busy working, and they can't take advantage of the going up there for free, bringing in a pickup truck, or putting in bags and have it picked up by the town for free. It's just the people that we, with the contractors, with the box on the trucks, are getting charged, and we got to pass it along to these people. And these people are the same people that voted you up here, and they're asking you to look out for them. I know Joe went through a lot of trouble to try to simplify it, going in and out of landfill. But it's just a fee that I feel is just a hidden tax on a few people in town. And I appreciate you if you'd consider this and really, I understand with the roll-offs because you have no idea where it's come from. And when they come in, I mean, they come in with 40 yards. I mean, that's like us going in there 10 times. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference. And there's not a lot of us smaller contractors around. And for us to single us out is wrong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? You can go ahead. Oh, geez, what I do? And just your name and address, please.
John DeSantis, 7 Corey Lane. I'm going to talk about the dog park. I have no idea what people want. I don't want it near my house. I've gone through this again, and there's supposed to be a petition on file with over 100 names that I got 6 or 7 years ago when they wanted to put the playground in. We've already had 3 accidents on Corey Lane and 1 death. We don't need any more accidents. There's too many children and seniors walking in the road. I applied to have yellow lines put down on the road, and they told me I couldn't because it wasn't 2,000 cars coming down the road. There were yellow lines there. They told me they weren't. They were. I've been there for 38 years. We've got too many cars in town and traffic now to deal with that we can't even deal with. I've talked to many police. There's too many cars flying down the road on Roxbury Road. There's over 200, 300, 400 cars a day on Roxbury Road. We don't need any more cars coming here from a dog park. They want a dog park, put it up at J.C. Penney where they're not near real estate. Another thing they would do is depreciate your home. This is, and if I have to, I'll get another petition. I do not want a dog park with more cars, More cars, more people, more problems. Simple as that. People going down Corey Lane 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, coming down the wrong way, where I had the signs put on where the center aisle is at the end of Corey Lane. Police were at my house one day about 2 months ago. The cop was standing in the road. A woman went flying down the wrong way. Almost hit the cop. We do not need any more traffic there. They want to put it up J.C. Penney Park. It won't be near people's property, and it won't depreciate your property. I'm sure there's plenty of people in my streets, I wish I knew sooner to get them here, to be not in favor of this. That's the same thing I went through to put in the day paper. If you want to put a dog park, that's fine. Put it up where J.C. Penney is. It's not near people's property. It won't depreciate your property. You won't have any traffic problems.
Thank you, John. I think we had someone else that wanted to address the panel.
Good evening. I'm Norm Peck from 32 West Main Street, Niantic, president of the East Lyme Historical Society, and I hope I'm not too late. My purpose here is to make sure when allotting money towards nonprofit organizations under this coming year's budget that you are fully aware of what the East Lyme Historical Society adds to the town. But first, I must say, in behalf of all the affected nonprofits, this reduction comes as a real surprise, and that's why I'm a little late. And it could be perceived as an opinion of the town towards these nonprofit organizations. Yes, we are the low-hanging fruit when it comes to reductions, but I feel there is potential in town to save serious money elsewhere. It would take more effort and more time, of course. The maintenance of our town treasure, the Thomas Lee House, 1697 circa, probably the oldest house in Connecticut that is still in its primitive state, is no small task. The Little Boston Schoolhouse, circa 1803, is a similar cost per square foot. Tours are given all year long at no charge. Lee descendants from all over the country call in advance regularly to experience their ancestral roots. Our free of charge winter lecture series often is attended by about 75 people. Our 5th grade hands-on colonial workshop has educated a generation of children from our school system. We receive weekly calls from people all over the country searching for information on family members and so forth. Our town historian and treasurer of the society gladly accommodates the curious from a massive organized collection of information not yet readily available to the public. Every August, we host a group of Niantic descendants at the Lee House. Excuse me. I didn't mention the Dr. Lee Cottage on the corner of Giants Neck Road and West Main Street. Many thousands of our dollars have been spent on this property. It belongs to the town. Most of the land that we maintain belongs to the town. We have never asked for support from the town except for the annual $2,250, which has been our allowance for decades. I do appreciate the COVID relief funding that we got. Other than that, we've been self-sufficient. This $2,250 is about 10% of our budget of regular reoccurring income and expenses. We have a 250th anniversary of our country coming up next year, 2026. The Historical Society organized the 200th celebration. Who do you think will do this one? We are working towards opening a museum to further celebrate this great town and instill a greater appreciation of it. Under the guidance of the state archaeologist, we also hold an annual family archaeological dig at the Lee House. It fascinates young and old. For years, we have allowed the high school archaeology class to perform digs in the spring and fall on the Lee House grounds. We sponsor the Indigenous Peoples Day program at McCook's Point Park, which was the site of the summer camp for many Niantics for thousands of years. For the Niantic Fire Department, we store their very first fire truck in our barn. It was in the community center alcove prior to our adding on to our barn to accommodate this, alongside a Niantic horse-drawn wagon, mail wagon. Every August, we host a group of Niantic descendants at the Lee House for a program of sharing information and planning. We have gathered a mass quantity of verbal and written history from these folks that has yet to be organized into a book. We have recently partnered with the East Lyme Library in our museum project. This enables us to better grant writing along with other fundraising. Our hardworking board of directors work in harmony and are dedicated to our mission. As we are purely a volunteer organization and all money goes directly to our educational and preservation projects, every dollar is efficiently spent. Please help us remember, educate, and inspire through the careful sharing of East Lyme history as we have done since 1897 by continuing the allowance of this $22.50. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm.
Thanks, Norm. Thank you, Norm. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Wanting to let her go first. My name is Beth Sibilia. I am the director of the Center for Housing Equity and Opportunity, which is located at 1 Montauk Avenue in New London. I'm here to speak on item 3D, but firstly, I'd like to thank this board for exhibiting courage and leadership and responsiveness and empathy to its residents in the establishment of the Fair Rent Commission. Not only have you protected tenants facing housing insecurity at Windward Village, but you've protected tenants and other community members, such as good landlords, from bad practices in your community. And so for that leadership, we thank you. I'm also here to talk about next steps. 3D appears to appoint Fair Rent Commission members, and that is terrific. I do have with me, however, the first Fair Rent complaint. We do have tenants facing housing insecurity, whether it be because they've signed under pressure leases that are unaffordable, or they haven't been given leases that are acceptable, and therefore they're operating without a lease, which places these tenants at legal risk of being served with a notice to quit. The filing of a Fair Rent Commission gives them some protection under the law. If they are over 62 or disabled, they are given some protection under the law. But we are facing an imminent crisis, and I think that this board recognized that when it fast-tracked the process to the public hearing, and again, thank you for that. So the next steps would have to be, what does the complaint look like? What department receives those complaints, that sort of thing, and that will, I presume, be up to the commission. We offer our experts throughout the state that have trained other Fair Rent Commission members, have trained tenants, have trained landlords, have established best practices, as well as other Fair Rent Commission members in other communities to share their insights and knowledge. So those we offer up to the municipality here in East Lyme. We would love to offer that to the administration. The next steps for the tenants include not only filing complaints, but we've had some discussion, we'll have further discussion next week. They wish to hold a town-wide discussion about what a Fair Rent Commission is, so that the residents of East Lyme know what a Fair Rent Commission is, what it's charged with doing, and have an opportunity to ask a panel of experts any questions that they have, so that it's not a mystery to the other residents that haven't fought this fight, like the Windward Village tenants. So we are looking to file complaints, establish procedures, and act as a partner, both to the municipality administration in terms of establishing, but also to the broader community, because the broader community rallied around these Windward Village tenants. They are your community, and they want to give back. So thank you again, and we stand ready to assist.
Thank you.
Thank you
Beth.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Would anyone else like to address the board? Looks like, I think you wanted to before. If you just state your name for the record.
I'm Quinn Holzappo, and I'm a Girl Scout cadet of Troop 63748. We are here today because we have chosen to help the town make a dog park for a silver reward. The silver reward is a Girl Scout award that we choose to serve our community for a long time. We have been working on this project for almost a year, planning and going to committee meetings, considering locations, and helping determine cost and needs for the dog park.
Hello, my name is Remy Poirier-White. The four of us are really happy to be part of this project and want to see this through. We are willing to put the time and effort in that this project requires. We have already worked hard to get to this point and wish to see the East Lyme Dog Park in the near future. According to a town-wide poll, an overwhelming majority said that they thought the dog park would be a good idea and that they would use it.
Hello, I'm Harper Schultz. We have been working with the dog park community to get a park approved. Some ways a dog park would be beneficial to our town are that it would mean less dogs would be on properties and beaches and parks that don't allow dogs. And we are hoping, with the board's permission, that we can set up an agility course and have like weekly or monthly kind of get-togethers to encourage people to come to the dog park and use it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, girls.
Appreciate your participation. Do we, anyone else like to address the board?
Hi, my name is Gail Dubois. I live at 22 Patrick Place in Niantic, and I am against the dog park. I've walked my dogs in that field for 28 years. It is a lovely field. There's deer on it, there's turkeys, there's wildlife. I cannot believe that we're talking about destruction of wildlife habitat that's being destroyed all over town. I have seen a shift in the amount of deer. There used to be deer every morning in my backyard, and there's not because of the buildings on Bridebrook and the houses down the street being built on Roxbury. I don't think it's necessary. You have a dog park in Waterford that is not used at all. You go by it, it's empty. Maybe we could get together with the town of Waterford and do some improvements to that. And it's already there. It's already built, and it's not being used. I'm also concerned about what would happen at this dog park at night. It's a deserted area, it's dark, I could see all sorts of shenanigans going on. So I just think it's horrible to take that field, put a parking lot, put fences up, and destroy the habitat for these animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address? Yes.
Good evening. Alicia Brothers, 149 Roxbury Road. First, I want to say the Girl Scouts did an amazing job, and I'm not in any way against what you guys have done. I think it is absolutely amazing. I am here, though. My home is right next to the Roxbury Road field where the dog park is proposed to go. I live there with my husband, our 2 dogs, and 4 children. I'm here to express concerns regarding the proposal to establish a dog park here. While I understand and do not deny the appeal and the benefit to the town of having a dog park in our town, I do believe that the Roxbury Road field would not be the appropriate location for such a project. First, Roxbury Road field is on a residential neighborhood road. Dog parks, while providing a space for pet owners to gather and for dogs to socialize, inevitably comes with increased traffic on an already busy road with many families and children residing on it. You'll find on any given day many cyclists, pedestrians using this road, already without a sidewalk. As a town that prides itself on maintaining a high quality of life for its residents, I urge you to consider the impact this added traffic would have on those living nearby. We have bus stops all up and down that road, and this could cause another issue with the park on our street. One such bus stop is directly across the street from where the proposed field would go. We already have an issue where cars fly by at unreasonable speeds, and there are many, many blind spots on this road, especially at dusk as the sun's going down. Additionally, Roxbury Road Field is one of the few untouched natural spaces left in our town. It provides an essential habitat for local wildlife and is a scenic open space that many in our community appreciate. Transforming this area into a dog park would disrupt the wildlife and take away one of the few remaining unspoiled areas of our town. You can often see deers, turkeys, and even coyotes grazing the field. I fully support finding ways to improve and expand recreational opportunities for residents and their pets, but I firmly believe that the Roxbury Road Field is not the right place for this project. Other locations in town may be more suitable, where the impact on residents, wildlife, and resources would be minimized. I ask the Board of Selectmen to consider the long-term implications of building a dog park at Roxbury Road Field. Preserving this area as a peaceful, natural space is in the best interest of current and future residents. Thank you for your time and consideration of this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Hello. Hi, I'm Nick Menapace, 38 Hope Street, to kind of, I guess, not talk about this part at all. But I had two, I suppose, unrelated but somewhat related things that I had wanted to address the board. One, I agree with Beth Sibilia, who was just up here. I very much agree that the establishment of a Fair Rent Commission is a good thing, and I really applaud the town for moving so quickly on this. I did want to raise something too, that this is something that I've met several people who seem to kind of think that this is an exclusive issue to just Windward Village. And I know I've come up here and other people have said, like, this is not a problem, it's unique to that one. I had encouraged someone that I spoke to who lived over, I never remember it's called like the Cove over at, or it's the apartments above where on Lighthouse Lane. And I had found for them that they told me that they were told, that they had been informed that they were going to not need to start paying, I think it was $150 more for their cat to live there with them. And that was something that they felt very upset about because they were living on a fixed income and that there wasn't a lot they could really do about it. But that on top of that, their rent had been raised and they felt very unsure who to turn to. And they were excited when I mentioned about this Fair Rent Commission as something that could possibly help solve them for it. So this is something that I applaud you for getting ahead, or not ahead of this, but doing this now, because it is not a problem that's going to go away. I think we're going to increasingly see more of these apartment owners, not just that, I suppose housing owners, that decide that they are going to try and increase their profits at the expense of the people who live there. On a unrelated note, as someone who really likes to walk and ride around town, I have, well, I suppose in agreement with someone said up here that it can be quite dangerous going on certain roads on here. I would really love to see the town be able to do more to try and make it safer for pedestrians and for people riding their bikes, whatever it might be. There are a lot of people going very fast, and I think there are more solutions than just simply putting a police officer with a speed trap at every place. I think that we need to be looking at trying to, I really like what was just done over here on Main Street, where they put in the no parking areas right next to the crosswalks, because I can tell you, as someone who crosses that area a lot, people do not slow down sometimes when they see someone entering in there. And I think it would be a very, very good idea for the town to consider that more. That is something that I would love to see on some of the people who had talked about here living on Corey Lane, is that you pretty much just walk in the street. So I've seen a lot of people going down and up those streets. There's no sidewalk almost anywhere on there, and they're kind of just forced to walk in the road or ride their bikes in the road or whatever it might be. And I think this would go a long way to making our town just that much safer for people. Right? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board at this time? Yes.
Hi, Laura Schultz, 79 Dean Road. I was not planning at all to speak, but I do want to follow up with what Nick said. I live in the middle of Dean, between Boston Post and Society, and it is Thunder Road down there. My daughter has to cross the street for the bus stop. We have kids who ride bikes. You know, there was a big bike, the triathlon. the other day, and it is getting to the point where it's really unsafe to even check my mail anymore. And I know with the construction going on, that it's definitely going to be keeping up. So I kind of wonder what we're going to do about those side roads too, because ours is like a truck pass through also. I welcome any police officer to come sit in my driveway. I will bring you coffee, whatever you need to do. But yeah, that's just something I think is really important in town, because there are a lot of roads that are getting pretty dangerous. And I don't want to see anything happen. So I don't know if that makes sense or not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Anyone else who would like to address the board? All right, being none, thank you. Appreciate the comments this evening, and we'll take all of your comments into consideration.
Thank you.
Next area on the agenda is approval of minutes. The first is the regular meeting of August 7th, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of August 7th, 2024 as amended.
And there was an amendment.
Yeah, I just need a second first.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Candace.
Okay, so the amendment, we want to, under section 3AE, Patagonic sidewalk discussion, the grant for the project is LOCIP, L-O-T-C-I-P. It was listed as LOCIP, L-O-C-I-P. So it needs to have the T in there.
An important distinction. All right, thank you for catching that. Any other changes? All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, that motion carries. Next is the special meeting of August 9th, 2024.
Move to approve the special meeting minutes of August 9th, 2024 as submitted.
Any, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. Any changes? All right. Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none,
I will abstain as I was not in attendance, although I did review the minutes. I did not notice that this was on the public access, so I'm going to abstain.
okay. We have one abstention.
It lists you as being in attendance for this special
For,
August 9th.
am I not looking at the right minute?
August 9th. Yeah, I thought you were.
Okay, I'm looking at the public hearing.
No.
Yeah,
So that's different. Well,
Yeah.
that's coming up.
All right, I jumped ahead.
All right, so you
I
you are in
will-
favor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so unanimous.
Now I'll find my place.
Okay.
Okay, so-
And now, let's see, next is the public hearing of August 20th, 2024.
Move to approve the public hearing minutes of August 20th, 2024 as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Candace. Any discussion or changes?
Just that, under present, it says Ann Chichello, and my name does not have an E on the end, it's just A-N-N,
Okay,
so it's just a
thank
typo.
you. All right, thank you. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And then the special meeting of August 20th, 2024.
Move to approve the special meeting minutes of August 20th, 2024 as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion?
Same thing, just my name on the top,
Okay,
just drop the
we'll
E.
try to get that right next time. Thank you.
We've got a lot of minutes.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, the motion carries. Consent calendar. I guess I jumped the gun before on the consent calendar, but
Yeah,
we already did it. Well, all right,
That's
we're
all
ahead
right.
of the game. All right. Hope no one missed out that wanted to speak about the consent calendar. All right. So now we'll get to new business. Item A is notification of the Board of Selectmen of hiring of East Lyme Fire Services Chief and Deputy Chief. So earlier today, the Chief Bill Bundy and Deputy Chief Eric Quinn have been serving in acting capacities, and I changed that, and I appointed them as permanent Fire Chief and Deputy Chief. I've included a copy of the charter, so that the board can be clear on how the charter operates. And under section 3.23, it says the first selectman shall hire and dismiss employees of the town, except employees of the Board of Education, and except employees whose employment is otherwise provided by law, and shall give notice of each hiring or dismissal to the Board of Selectmen at its next meeting. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm putting the board on notice. Such hiring or dismissal may be overruled only by a majority of the vote of the Board of Selectmen at its next meeting following such notification. So if the board wants to, disagrees with what I did and wants, they have a process to overrule that appointment. So I want everyone to be aware of it, so I included the language. But I also invited tonight Bill Bundy. Would you like just to address the board?
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know, I did my introductions earlier, or the latter part of last year during budget preparations. I kind of gave a little bit of a synopsis of where I came from and what some of my background was, and I just wanted to do that again, just to kind of like reiterate where we're at, maybe give you an idea of where we stepped into. And it was, I believe, Mr. Cunningham appointed Eric and I in an acting capacity in February of this year, kind of where we picked up, some of the things that we've done, and maybe where we're going. So if you'll indulge me, I'll do just that. I've been in the fire service for over 42 years. The last 26 I've spent as a volunteer in my own town, in my municipality where I'm a life member. I've served in many of the capacities, both as a line officer and an executive officer. Some of those included rescue EMS officer, fire lieutenant, fire captain. I was assigned the fire department's training officer, and I, performed in many capacities on the front line as an incident commander, operations officer, safety officer, and whatnot. I've served as an emergency management director in another municipality, director of a communications center, and in that capacity, I oversaw an operating budget within the municipality and the fire service of close to $2 million. So budgets were really not foreign to me at that point. Prior to coming here, I'll say my real job, my profession was I'm a retired law enforcement officer. I spent 32 years in law enforcement. The last 23 I served with the state police, retiring as a sergeant. I was a supervisor and investigator in the professional standards unit, working with HR. And the last part of my career, I was a commanding officer of the state police fire and explosion unit, and I dealt with all the fires across the state. Some of my training and experience, I have attended the Connecticut Fire Academy. I'm certified as a firefighter 1, firefighter 2, hazmat technician. I'm also a fire instructor 2, fire officer 1, fire officer 2, and fire officer 3. In addition, I received my EMT back in 1984. So I'm kind of dating myself now. I've also served as an instructor with the Connecticut Fire Academy in the Office of Education and Data Management, where I've taught some and recertified fire investigators and firefighters throughout the state. One of the things that I think I might have mentioned prior, that I'm extremely proud of being a part of, I served in a role and a capacity in the mental health side of emergency services. I've served on an executive committee for the state police, where they offer peer support for first responders. In addition, I've spoken nationally with regards to peer support and critical incident stress management. I say obviously I'm a state certified fire marshal, and I hold the distinction of being an internationally certified arson investigator, being qualified within the state as an expert testimony. When we took over in February, Eric and I worked collectively trying to identify some of the gaps that were in the service. We found some of the things that we were falling short with regards to OSHA and NFPA standards. staffing, spending, things of the like. So over the several months, and Eric has done yeoman's work with regards to working collectively with the volunteers and trying to establish standard SOPs, standard operating procedures, addressing some of the gaps with regards to equipment, vehicle maintenance, things of the like. One of the things that we're working on that we started in the spring of this year, recruitment and retention, both at the career level and within the volunteer service. And one of the things that we got involved in, or they have been involved in, is working at the high school with the EMT program that they offer through for their students as well as neighboring towns. We had a conversation at the latter part of the school year that we've agreed to pick up at the beginning of this school year, that we're going to try to expand that to include firefighting, perhaps develop a curriculum so that we can offer firefighting classes to some of those interested high school seniors and juniors, kind of like as a feeder program to kind of hopefully build on some of that recruitment and retention. Where do we see us going? My philosophy is tomorrow's no different from today, and I kind of say that tongue in cheek. We're going to continue to put the wet stuff on the red stuff, and answer the call and go whatever calls that we have. With that, I kind of illustrate that. I want to share a call that we recently had last week during the early morning hours. Emergency dispatch received a call of a frantic parent whose infant child was not breathing. Dispatch takes the information. They immediately dispatch the emergency resources to include the police department, the volunteer fire departments, as well as the career staff. East Lyme ambulance as well, and a paramedic. Police department immediately gets there because they're up and about patrolling during those hours, and immediately begin providing CPR to the infant child. As the rest of the responders come in, they start taking over, they start rendering this emergency care, transporting the child, and on arrival at the hospital, the child is now breathing on its own and has a relatively, as the paramedic told me, a relatively good shot at survival. It was such a traumatic and dramatic incident that the next morning I get a phone call from the paramedic on scene who basically said that our people gave this kid a shot to survive. We received an email yesterday from the mother that wishing to thank our team, and I do say a team, for saving her child, and that the child is expected to make a complete recovery. Now, where are we going? We're going to continue to work with our partners in our service, police department, the volunteers, the paramedics, the dispatchers, because we can't do this alone, and this is truly a team effort, and that's what we're going to continue to build upon. Doing this to provide this service to the citizens and the visitors of this town while trying to institute a level of fiscal responsibility. And I throw that out there because that's an important part of that. So with that, that's all I have. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm truly grateful to Mr. Cunningham and the board for the opportunity to serve as your fire chief. I'm truly humbled, and I pledge my dedication to continue to move this service forward in the best possible manner and continue to provide this service for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Eric, the floor is yours.
Hi, Eric Quinn. Just wanted to formally introduce myself. I know I've met just about everybody here. I've been with the United Fire Department starting as a junior in their program. I've been down there now for 19 years. I'm currently the volunteer fire chief of the Nyack Fire Department. I hold a bachelor's degree in fire administration, and I'm working on my master's in executive emergency management. I got a laundry list of certifications, just like Chief Bundy. I got an instructor 3, fire officer 3, are some of my top ones. You may have seen me around town at all the events over the years, out there checking for gas, making sure everything's safe, getting emergency supplies everywhere. I just wanted to come say hello and keep working on what we're doing.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so, you know, I was going to reserve this for my selectmen's report, but I think now is probably the right time. So I want to publicly recognize the following. You know, they were speaking about this save the other night, this infant. So I want to publicly recognize those that were involved for this 911 call. Full-time firefighter Wick Halen, C.J. Leindecker, along with volunteers David Cabbington and David Bear, and Noah Quinn responded from the fire service. I don't have the name of the police officers that were involved and the dispatchers, but my personal thanks, and I think the town would thank them as well, for their valiant effort in saving that young infant. And we did receive a recent email. It sounds like the infant is doing well and a full recovery is expected. But that's not all. That's the second time in a week that the volunteers, the full-time firefighters, and the ambulance service were involved in a save. There was a young lady the other night. She was out swimming around in the Nyack River, and they found her and they brought her to safety. And so we really we have a wonderful force between the volunteers, the full-time firefighters, and the ambulance service, and the dispatchers, and the police. We're very fortunate in this town to have the people we do in those services. So I just want to thank them all, and they've done a wonderful job. And I want to point out, Eric, a few weeks ago I mentioned this before, but it was if it wasn't for him and his, was it a propane sniffer? Is that what it is? Yes. Gas sniffer. He caught what would have undoubtedly been a horrific disaster on Main Street. There was a food truck that was leaking a lot of gas. It was a major leak, and had they lit that thing off, it would have taken out, 30-foot radius all the way around that truck. So thank God he discovered it, and my credit to Eric for that good work. And then the others assisted in getting the truck out of harm's way and getting the gas bleeded off. So very proud of the service, and thank you, and look forward to working with you both in the future. Okay. So next is approval of the DOT master agreement. And let's see. I don't know who anyone was going to address that. I can. Oh, did you want to do that, Joe, or just briefly talk about it? This is the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and is this yearly or?
Yes.
It's
yes.
yearly we sign this.
Yeah, Joe Brigad, Director of Public Works. They send it out yearly. They have modifications to this agreement. It's a standard agreement. They're not looking for the town to have their attorney look at it and change it and hand it back to them. The DOT gives us that because that's the partnership. We do have a lot of projects coming down the pike. The DOT, we got one at Colony Road, we have one at Fairhaven Road. So these agreements kind of set the ground rules of how that they're going to dole out the money and how they're going to do the project. So we've looked through it, and it's something, and the DOT's been good to work with.
There's a lot of language there. I reviewed it. I know our attorneys have reviewed it in the past, and it doesn't change much from year to year. So pretty standard stuff. So I think we're looking for a motion to approve. Thank you, Joe. Looking for a motion to authorize me to sign that master agreement.
Move the following. Resolve that the Honorable Daniel R. Cunningham, First Selectman, is hereby authorized to sign the agreement entitled Master Municipal Agreement for Construction Projects.
Second.
Yeah, I have a second. Any discussion? I looked it over. I read through it. Looks pretty much like the one that was signed last year, and I don't. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. So, all right. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Being none, motion carries. I'll sign it tomorrow. Okay, next was a lot of interest in this one, the discussion and possible action about a dog park subcommittee. We've heard a lot of commentary tonight, pro and con, but I guess the a way to sort of resolve it would be to create a subcommittee to look at the issue. And now, Do we have a report tonight that is being offered? We already have a subcommittee, so now they've already issued a report. Okay. They're ahead of me.
Okay. I'm Jay Ginsberg, 2 Applewood Common, and I'm here to represent a subcommittee of the Parks and Rec, who have been looking at the idea of a dog park for the last year or so. You have copies of our official report, so I'm just going to try to hit some of the high points. I don't want to repeat everything. But the committee dates back to October of 2023, and the report that you have a copy of was approved by the Parks and Rec Commission in August of 2024. Just to give a little background, right now in East Lyme, we do about 1,450 dog licenses a year. And according to the clerk's office, they estimate that only about half the dogs are licensed. So we have nearly 3,000 dogs in East Lyme. So this is something that hits a lot of our population. We believe that having a dog park would be of benefit to the town for a number of reasons. Among them are the idea of a community of dog owners helping to do things around town. Also, we feel that if there was a dog park where dogs could run, that they would be less likely to be let off leash in areas where they shouldn't be. So, we've heard comments about wildlife, and I can tell you from walking my dog that I see more dogs off leash on hiking trails around here than I see on leash. And I'm hoping if we can offer an alternative that's nearby, that we won't have so many off leash and hurting the wildlife potentially. In addition, we also feel that allowing the dogs to socialize in a dog park would be beneficial when people are walking dogs on the street, and dogs would be less likely to attack each other. So those are just a few of the reasons. You met our Girl Scouts that have been working hard with us on this, and if you have the report, you'll see a really cute logo that they developed that we've been using. So our plans are that we feel that a dog park would be about 1 acre in size. So it wouldn't have to be huge, it wouldn't have to take a lot of space. We also felt that it should be, a dog park should be separated into an area for small dogs and for large dogs. We've had a lot of people note that they don't want their small dog mixing with a bigger dog. In addition, we want to make sure that there's adequate off-street parking so that to limit the amount of congestion on the roads. We want to have very strict rules to try to minimize any problems from owners, as well as making it clear that the town is not responsible if something goes on at a dog park, that the owners should take care of their own dogs. And we also recommend that any dog park not be open beyond daylight hours. So we don't want to create a lot of noise in the evenings when, when people want to quiet down in the neighborhood. In order to get some data as to what people want in the way of a dog park, we did do a survey, which we did online, and we had advertisements in posters at the town clerk's office, on social media. We got about 500, little over 500 responses, which for a town this size is pretty good. Now I want to emphasize this was not a scientific survey. We didn't have a random sample. But nonetheless, we got some good ideas from the people that did respond. I'm not going to go through all the results. You have a bunch of them. But a majority of people, a large majority, felt that a dog park would benefit East Lyme, and that they would use a dog park. And surprisingly, a large majority said that they felt tax dollars could be spent on a dog park. We asked people in the survey if they would be willing to donate to a dog park, and about about 150 said they would. Actually, I take it back, about 180 said they would. And we asked them how much they would donate, and it came out to a total of over $15,000. So if people are true to their promises, we can do this hopefully with minimal cost to the town, although there probably will be some. We also asked if anyone had concerns about a dog park, and we did get a list of a lot of concerns. The biggest was maintenance, you know, how it would be taken care of, and that's something we would address in the future if we move forward. And other issues were aggressive dogs, irresponsible owners, and the spread of illnesses. And I think those are all issues that need to be addressed, but I think we can deal with them. You know, we've heard some comments about location, and there's no definite location that we've come to, although this place on Roxbury, in the mind of the subcommittee, did represent the optimum location, considering where other town properties are. I've heard what's been said tonight about issues that people have with that location, and much of the committee is here. And I think that you know, we'll go back and look again at possible other locations. But I want to emphasize that we're not asking for a location tonight. We're just asking for a few other things. Of course, the major issue is budget. And our estimate is that building a dog park would cost between $35,000 and $50,000 total, with most of the expense being just fencing in an area and creating a parking area. We as a subcommittee are willing to look for donations to try to fund as much of this as we can, and hopefully we can keep the budget that the town would need to contribute to something minimal. And we've talked with Parks and Rec, with Jerry, and you know, he feels that maintenance would not add much to the town budget. So what are we asking? We would like to have you as the Board of Selectmen endorse the concept of a dog park for East Lyme as something that would benefit the community. And we'd like your blessing to start fundraising to try to collect money to offset the expense of construction and maintenance. Thirdly, we'd like to ask the town if money that is donated can go into a town account that would be segregated from other town monies, but we want to make sure that the money, any donations are accounted for and you know, in a safe place. So we'd like to be able to do that. And Kevin Gervais says that based on the computer system he has, he can segregate the money quite easily. And then fourthly, we would like to have your endorsement so we can go to zoning and look at different sites and work with them to try to figure out what could be zoned for such a use. So it's all preliminary, but I'm hoping that you can give us those four things that I just mentioned. Are there any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Let's see.
I have a question. You said 4. I got the endorsement for the dog park as a general concept, account for the dog park separate from town finances, an endorsement to go to zoning. What was the 4th?
The 4th one was to get your blessing to start raising money.
Okay, can I go?
Yeah.
All right, great. So first, thank you all so much. So I see our asks of the Board of Selectmen. I know that I could certainly support number 1, which is endorsing the concept of a dog park. I think that it's been overwhelming as far as the response, and that it is a benefit to the community for certain. Allow us to begin fundraising efforts. I applaud you in every single way and would probably donate. I think it's great. Allow money donated to be held by the town in a segregated account. That is for the money guy, and Kevin says he can do it. I think that's fantastic, and my assumption is that the fundraising, the money would go back in to help the dog park, correct, and everything. Endorse our working with zoning to identify what we need to do to get a construction permit. So a blessing to go to zoning, and then you mentioned different locations. So I'm identifying the issue with the location and the possible concerns with that, and they should be noted. Are you looking to bring different locations to zoning to see what their thoughts are on it, and if it would be applicable to what you're looking at doing? That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's our plan, and certainly anything that we bring to zoning would be open for community discussion and,
Right.
Hearings through zoning.
Got it, okay. And then we are at number 5, which I believe Jason was alluding to, which is eventually we will likely need to ask for a small budget for construction and or maintenance, right?
Right, yeah, I guess I kind of skipped over that, but I'm sure you can understand why.
Yes.
But,
right.
I just want to
No
be
worries.
upfront that,
Sure.
that we don't think we can raise $50,000.
Sure.
But we're hoping we can raise enough so that the town would not have to, would not be asked for a lot.
Certainly, got it. Okay. That's all I wanted to do, was kind of go through those things.
Okay, I guess we could, does anyone else want to express their initial feelings about the?
Okay,
Yeah.
Concerning the dog park, I just have a few questions first. Like, the property, it's an acre, so it would have to be mowed, the park plowed, and then I'm concerned about the liability to the town. So, I don't know if Joe Bregaw, did he leave? Is he still here?
No, he's in the back.
Oh. It's Jerry or Joe?
It falls under Jerry.
Oh, is that Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so then it's Jerry. Sorry, Joe. I'm not trying to put more on your plate.
Joe's like, that's not part of mine.
He's like, nothing else, please. So I was concerned that, like, if you're gonna be mowing it, plowing it, that kind of thing, what does this do for, the town workers? Like, how does this add to that?
Yes, Jerry Locken, Parks and Rec Director. Thank you for asking that question. As Jay mentioned, there would be increased maintenance. We do think that we could handle it, and I guess I say that at the same time where I've been talking with folks about, the resources that we're already struggling with. A dog park, in terms of mowing it, it won't be mowed. The activity of the dogs inside the fenced area would be enough to, handle the grass, and the grass won't be allowed to, with the activity of the dogs, our experience would show us that inside the fence wouldn't be a lot of maintenance. In the winter, if you're talking about plowing out the parking lot for the dog park, I would say that's number 97 out of a list of 97 properties in town that we would plow. We're going to hit the community center, the town hall, the police department. We're going to hit all those things first.
Okay.
And at some point, we'll get to the dog park. So, in terms of that, it's not really an impact. I will say that the field, right now, the meadow that the dog park committee has proposed is an open meadow that gets mowed once or twice a year. And that the size of that meadow is several acres. So we would be using a portion of that, proposed to use a portion of that. But yeah, I think the outside, there probably would be some string trimming perhaps along the outside of the fence, and maybe some minimal trash removal, some things like that. But yes, it would be an increase in maintenance, probably, but not so much so that we couldn't squeeze it in, or that's something. Yeah, I guess.
So you can do it with the employees you have.
In terms of property, the issues we have with resources are, I guess it's another straw on the back. It's not the make or break issue, I would say.
Okay. So then my other question, I don't know if it goes to you or Jay or to whomever, but lighting, would there be lighting there? Or how would that work?
Yeah,
Because I'm just thinking, you know, it gets dark usually in winter at, 4 o'clock, 4:30 come December, so.
Yeah, our feeling was that we want to have as little disruption as possible to the neighborhood and to any wildlife in the area.
Okay.
So we talked about lighting and decided that we didn't want it, even if we had the money for it.
Okay.
And didn't you also say that you were looking at, after dusk, not really having any activity, right?
Right.
But you also mentioned rules. Do you have another question before I ask this one?
No, go ahead, I'll
It's
continue
gonna
after you.
caveat it, just
Yeah,
caveating
I'll
right
continue
on.
after you.
Because as she started, I was like, oh, right, she was asking those questions, but who is going to enforce the rules? So, a couple of things have come up, right? And if there were to have issues, now is that something, and I don't even know if that question would go to maybe you, Dan, I really don't know. Is it the dog warden that would be coming? Is it our police officers?
I mean, we don't, our hope is that the dog owners will be adults and that there won't be many problems. I don't think that we're going to, the subcommittee's recommendation is not to impose on anyone to enforce every single role. But if there's a serious problem or somebody who breaks the rules consistently, then we would feel that we could call in the dog warden or the police. But we don't see that happening very often. You know, in talking to other communities, I mean, Jerry's worked with the Groton's Dog Park, which is very heavily used, and I don't think there's been any significant problems there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll take a stab at answering the question, who would enforce? You know, all of our parks that are open to the public are open spaces, and they all have rules, and people follow them. The first stop normally when somebody is breaking a rule at a park would be a phone call to Parks and Rec, and we would do our best to address the situation. If we weren't able to do that, or if it was a health or safety issue, we might call in police or others to help. But, you know, I think from the town standpoint, you know, the administration of the rules at the dog park is no different than the administration of the rules at a beach or at a ball field or anything else. I mean, we're fully prepared. That's what Parks and Rec does. We implement rules, make sure people are aware of them, and 99.9% of the time people comply.
Okay, now a liability. So one of the thoughts was to have a separate area for smaller dogs and then a separated area for larger dogs. So is there any liability to the town in any way?
Okay, so I guess I've had that conversation with Kerma. Kerma is the town's insurance carrier. And, you know, as long as the town does its due diligence and implements these rules and takes care of the park in a responsible manner, there is no increased liability to the town. It's a part of town operations. It's no different, again, than a beach, than a ball field, than a pickleball court. Yeah, as long as we do a good job of managing it, it's not an increase in liability.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's usually strict liability to the owner. If your dog bites somebody, then it's basically strict
The
liability.
first bite is free, they said. in
Yeah,
law.
exactly. So
Second bite, they catch you.
yeah. I wanted to kind of bring up those issues because I want to make sure that we're thinking of everything. I think it's a really good thing. The only concern I have, just based upon what I think some other people stood up and said, is the location. So I would be more comfortable if you would explore some other locations, maybe that didn't impact, I guess the traffic so much, only because, as you heard just from different people, there is an issue with traffic. We know that, and I know with the construction coming up, it's going to get worse because obviously these are the side roads to get through to different places. So that's my only, major concern. Other than that, I would, I would endorse the dog park. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful for people to get together and talk and socialize, and I think it's needed for everybody in town. I think it just, another way to get together. So, yeah, I would definitely endorse it.
Don, any thought? We'll go down this end of the table. Don, any thoughts?
Thank you. To follow up with Ann, what Ann said, the biggest thing for me would be location. In the last 3 meetings here, with this location, 3 separate topics have all end up with traffic and danger there. And now you add people texting that still won't stop texting when they're driving. So if we've had 3 meetings in a row and traffic is brought up in this area as being an issue, totally non-related to the dog park or the construction, we have an issue. So please consider another site that's hopefully safer, more open, whatever. But just as long as that alternative is there, I too am for a dog park. I've been by the Waterford. I've seen it busy sometimes. I've also seen it not used. So it's available. It's there. It's another service the town provides is great. But obviously, it's a dangerous area. Thank you.
Let me just say, we did look at different sites, and we're pretty restricted because we don't want to have to purchase land. We wanted to look at unused town land, and there just isn't that much of it. But we certainly will look again and re-explore it.
Jason, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, I am a self-avowed cat person, so I don't have a dog in this fight.
Let's go.
However, I definitely see the need for it from not just a recreational standpoint, but as you said, an ecological standpoint. When people already have dogs off leash on trails, that does impact our environment. So there are pros and cons. Unfortunately, this is not an issue I've explored very much, and I would really appreciate you guys returning with more information should any come up. But I have to echo the rest of the board and just saying, we hear the residents, they have some legitimate concerns and complaints, and they resonate with us, and hopefully we can all work together and find a peaceable resolution and an outcome that's going to fit everybody's needs.
Thanks, Jason. Roseanne?
Yes, thank you. I don't know, we all have to be concerned about equal treatment. We do this, we're going to have cat park next. After all, that's
the
one of
cat side, I think.
Although for many years I have owned dogs. So this doesn't come as any surprise to me. I look out here and I see faces of people who were here 15 years ago asking for a dog park and raising money. So this does not come as a surprise, but we are in as far as I'm concerned, a different financial place than we were maybe 15 years ago. The idea of seeing if we could coordinate with Waterford is appealing to me. But we have several other major projects on board, including the Darrow's Ridge project, which we have plans for that. That will be expensive. This is certainly a less expensive project, but the Darrow's Ridge property, that has massive plans for that. And maybe maybe we should go back and review that as a possible location, as there will already be funding spent there. High five to my Girl Scouts out there. I'm a first-class Girl Scout myself, so there you go. Hope you get a merit badge for this. But in light of the recent cuts that were made to services to the community by the Board of Finance, perhaps you should be talking to them instead of us. When we cannot afford to fund the Historic Cemetery Commission, the Historical Society, when we heard from tonight, and those budgets were slashed, as well as all the services to the community, budgets were cut by 44%, I cannot endorse a new project. This is, I understand fully that people would like to have this and the desire for it, but I think that the recent decisions by the Board of Finance really impact my willingness to vote for anything that is going to cost additional money and be a service to the community, although I would like to have it. I think our Public Works Department is overwhelmed. I think our Parks and Rec Department is extremely busy, and I think that there are existing facilities that would warrant more attention than what is given to them. which are public places. So I'm sorry to say this, but for my thinking, if we can't support what we already have, which are priorities for the community, I just cannot support this. And I have raised Cocker Spaniels. I love dogs. I've had them for years, and I would enjoy going to a dog park if I still had them. But I just don't feel at this time, for the reasons that I've stated, that I can be in support of this. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. I appreciate your comments. So I guess it's time for me to comment. For years, I've heard talk of the desire to have a dog park in East Lyme. And I know there was an initiative years ago where money was collected, things were sort of moving in a direction, and it got stalled, and it didn't go anywhere. Now, the town has grown. There's a lot of people that do have pets, that have dogs. There's a great interest, and maybe even a greater interest than back then. There are the fiscal concerns, and how do we pay for something new? We are stretched thin as far as mowing the lawns and doing all the things that we have to do. One of the things, I had said in the past during the last budget is we got to take care of what we have before we start building something new. We did find a way to build some pickleball courts because there was a great interest in people that we thought that there was a significant community in town that really would benefit from it, and it was important to them. And I think it's similar with the dog park. There's a significant community in our town that would find this really beneficial to them. So I think what we should try to do is find a way, if we can, to satisfy as many of the concerns as possible. Now, I know there's people here tonight that are really opposed to having it at the end of Corey Lane, that large field up there. They're very concerned about that. I think their concerns are legitimate. I mean, it is a beautiful field, and it would create more traffic. But one of the things that was mentioned was the Romagna Road area down near the salt box. What do they call it? The salt shed. And I don't know if we could look at that a little more seriously. I think there's lighting down there already, isn't there? Somewhere around those buildings, there's some light.
I think there may be just general parking lot light type things there, but no kind of site lighting. So,
but
yeah,
there is some. I mean, if someone were to go there and park, there is some sort of already in place, some sort of street lights or something down there.
I couldn't say for certain,
Okay.
but I know that there's a gravel parking lot.
It's a
there.
gravel parking lot. Maybe there's a way to, I don't want to say do it on the cheap, but maybe there is a way to use that area. Let's see if we, zoning wise, it's certainly central. Hopefully it won't be objectionable to the people who live on Corey Lane. And it's sort of an underutilized little corner of the town that we own. Maybe there is a way that we could fence off an area. It doesn't have to be the fanciest dog park in the world, but we could have two separate areas, one for the little dogs and one for the larger dogs. Maybe that's a spot that we could focus on a little bit. Maybe doing it there, it might fit into our budget. Concerns that haven't been addressed that I want to ask about is, someone had mentioned disease being transmitted from one dog to another. That is an issue. I'm facing that right now with a dog of mine that I care very much for. It's a concern. Trying to figure that one out. But it's something that we need to be aware of, and to the extent that it is an issue, make sure that dogs are, anyone that's using it, they have to be vaccinated properly and have all the right tests. But generally, I would say I support the idea, and maybe we can find a way to move forward with it in a way that the town can afford, that is in a place that is central enough, and that doesn't offend people that have lived in an area and just don't want a dog park in their backyard. So with that, I don't know, we don't really have to make a motion or anything. We just have to, we're really just having a discussion. I would say, I would encourage the committee to keep on moving forward and to I think we can solve most of these problems, and maybe look at, areas other than the one at the end of, what street is that? Corey. I want to say Clark, Corey Lane. And maybe focus on some of the other areas to see if there's some way that's more cost effective for the town.
Can we get some sort of formal, maybe a motion about collecting the money and putting it into a segregated account? I just want to make sure that's all legal.
I don't think we can make a motion for that, but.
I think we need more information on
Yeah.
that.
And I think we need Kevin Gervais to be here to kind of guide us along the path on what we can do and what we can't do.
More.
Yeah, so on the finance side, but certainly keep the initiative going and look at other ideas and places, and let's meet back in, I don't know, a month. We'll put it on the little table for 3 meetings, and then maybe in the middle of October, sometime we can talk again and see if we've honed in and focused in on where we're going in a way that seems to satisfy the most number of people and their concerns. Is that fair?
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so, dog park. All right, next, old business, discussion and possible action on fees and for contractor leaf drop-off. So we had some comments before on that.
Should we take a 5-minute break? Just
Do we want to?
people?
Yeah,
just
we can
for-
take a 5-minute break. Let's take 5.
Thanks.
Okay. We ready to go back on the record?
Yes. Look at where we're at.
Okay, we're back on the record, and we're looking at the proposed transfer station fees.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
What's that?
All right, motion to approve the following fees: $40 for a new garbage or recycling can lid, $40 for a non-recyclable mattress, 2.5 cents per pound, with a max of $75 per load for commercial leaf disposal, 50% reduction for East Lyme contractors. This motion does not require Board of Finance approval or a town meeting.
Okay, Joe, did you want to comment on this?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, we need a second.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
do I hear
I'll
a second?
second.
We have a second. All
Go
right.
ahead, Jim.
Well,
Thank you.
I apologize
Sorry,
in
I was
advance.
slow
We
on
were
the
talking about the emergency service people. We were talking about all the dog park, and now we're going to talk about transfer station fees. But they're a necessary evil. So what I'd like to speak on is 2 of the first ones because they're pretty straightforward. And the second one, and the third one is the one that the Board of Selectmen had asked me to come back with. 2. As you're aware, all the fees in the town are set by this policy by the Board of Selectmen. We have a full slate of fees when you come up to the transfer station. 2 things that were kind of overlooked that I'd like to address now. One is if someone has their garbage can is completely destroyed or their lid is destroyed, all that stuff comes out of, we have to buy, the town has to buy those cans and buy those lids. And right now, if someone has a can that's damaged or is 20 years old or something like that, they got to buy a new can. But a lot of times the lids are damaged and we give people free lids. Well, we give them free lids, but the lids cost $35. So if it's damaged, they should be paying for a new lid. We'll install it. We go out there, we install it. It's nice to have all these extra services, but when you don't have the funds I can start budgeting for lids, and you don't buy 10 lids at a time. You buy 200 lids at a time, so it's an $8,000 cost. I try not to put those into the budget, so it'd be better to try to have, a cost set in place. So if someone, that's the fee for the lid is $40. And the other one is if someone wants to get rid of a mattress, they can bring the mattresses up to the transfer station free of charge. Believe it or not, I think we take in about 2,000 mattresses a year. It's unbelievable how many mattresses come up there. The one condition is mattresses are recyclable. It's a state of Connecticut, one of those buyer thing like paint where you pay more for your mattress so that this covers the service to make it free. The one caveat is if it's a destroyed mattress, complete waterlogged, moldy. I don't even have to get into describing what a nasty mattress looks like. They do not recycle that. We have to throw that in the pile. We have to throw that in the bulky waste bin, and we get charged $35 for that. So
we don't have a fee in place, so if someone brings a destroyed mattress to us, it's costing the town $35. Why are we letting them, get rid of it for free? So that was the other thing for the non-recyclable mattress. And the last one is now the infamous leaves. I appreciate Mr. Spakowski, who's here, he's still here, and I think we've been trying to work with the contractor just so that the Board of Selectmen know, and I have let a few of the members know. I have been trying to keep the contractors that were at the last meeting in the loop, and I tried to ask them their opinion and ask them what we were proposing. But like the kind of adverbs is how much do leaves weigh? It sounds like it's all you jump in a pile, they're so light and stuff like that. We're talking apples and coconuts here. Like when you have leaves that are coming in from contractors, most times they're from vacuum trucks and they're mulched up and they're put into trucks. Now, Mr. Spakowski is correct that the bigger problem is in the bigger roll-offs, but still, if you could have a box truck, if you see these trucks going around town, and you'll see them in November, these trucks are stacked up 8 to 10 feet high, and they stuff them to the gills of leaves. We probably take in about 2,000 cubic yards of leaves. That kind of corresponds to about 250 tons of leaves. That's about a pile of about 100 feet long by about 40 feet wide by about 15 feet high. It's a transfer station. Everything that comes in has to leave. So it takes about 3 years to turn that pile. Every 4 to 6 weeks, we have to turn that pile. Sometimes we have to rent screening equipment to help with that. For 3 years, we're turning all this stuff for 250 tons of leaves. So if we're in a lot of it's coming in on that dense leaves that are all mulched up. Now, we have this curbside collection that we do. We don't charge for that, but I know I've talked to our the people up in Waterford, their transfer station. They get the same problem, and when I talked to them, they really thought this was the greatest thing, that it needs to do something to charge it because so much leaves come in. They can't go into London because into London, and you don't really know exactly where all these leaves are coming from. So I do feel for people when Mr. Spakowski is saying that there's people that aren't charging it, but just on an order of magnitude. If a contractor delivers 500 pounds of leaves, that's a lot of leaves, at 25 cents, that's $12.50 for that truck, $6.25 for an East Lyme contractor. 1,000 pounds is $25 and $12.50 for an East Lyme contractor. 3,000 pounds of leaves would be $75 and a charge of $37.50. So, in our opinion, and this board would be the ones to decide. We try to come up with a reasonable, somewhat simple. I don't want to have 7 tiers of leaves and, is that truck 10 feet high? Is it 12 feet high? Is it taking 4 yards? Is it taking 6 yards? Is it wet? Is it dry? I mean, we try to come up with some reasonable solution. I think the thing about, I don't know of any other fees that we have associated that have a discount for East Lyme contractors. So actually, East Lyme contractors would benefit because if you try to hire someone from Ledyard, they're going to have to be charged twice as much. So it helps. And we do have a number. I could count at least 8 or 10 at a minimum landscaping contracts in town that do business in the town of East Lyme that would have that discount. One of the other concerns Mr. McCaffrey had said is he would like it to get through. I don't know if you heard him, but at the last meeting, but they don't like to get slowed up at the thing. Well, if you're bringing in a truck of 6 cubic yards, you're going to probably be full. You're still going to be probably at the max, which is be $37.50. If they go in, they could just say, "I'm full, charge me the full amount." It's $37.50. It's probably could be 3-4 lawns. It's spread $7. It's just, we think it's a reasonable amount to be charging for having to handle 250 tons of leaves. And I understand it's not all landscaping contractors, but it is when they come in from those trucks, it's all mulched up. It's all very dense, and we have to deal with it for 3 years. And there's a cost associated. We're trying not to crank up the costs of our operations and getting in other equipment and stuff like that. So I was here 6 weeks ago. I said I'd come back. I said I'd reach out. I did the things that I asked you to. I told the contractors what we're doing, and we try to keep it simple. It's the exact same thing I proposed last time, but a 50% discount for East Lyme contractors. And as I told you, the things, if they're bringing in 1,000 pounds of leaves, it's $12.50. That's not a lot of money for 1,000 pounds of leaves. That's a lot of leaves. So it's up to this. So I have the 3 items. Try to keep it simple. And if you have any questions, I'd like to answer it.
Yeah, I have a question. So when you say a mason dump, Are most of, I've seen these trucks with a big plywood box built on top of it.
They all put a big
with a blower in it, and
Correct.
it's a mulcher.
Correct.
Are most of the mason dumps we're talking about to come in equipped that way, or is it, some people that just come in with a dump truck full of a bunch of leaves and they're not compressed and not mulched?
They very rarely do that because they'll fly all over the thing, and then they'll see their name of their contractor, and they'll ask them why. I mean, usually they have some kind of covering, but most of the ones I've seen have boxes. It just makes more sense economically to stick as much as in there. They don't want to in a dump. In a mason dump, they don't want to have to make 8 runs a day. A lot of them have the town has a big box truck that, but you usually fill them up pretty full. A lot of times, as they say, because they're mulching, it's not like, normal people's, sticking the leaves and they're not mulched up. It's very dense, and when they come in there, as I think people have seen, the transportation experience is a lot quicker, and if they're concerned about going around, it's $37.50 for a max load, but most of the time they are maxed out.
So that would be if you're blowing leaves up, sucking up leaves off of someone's yard, that would be more than one individual. You would have several.
Yeah.
So if you're distributing that cost across all those, it's not going to be $37 for somebody that's getting their lawn done. It would be distributed over multiple lawns. It might be $5 or $3 or $4.
Yeah, it's certainly probably not one lawn, and I'd be shocked if it's all East Lyme leaves. I mean, it could be, but I don't think contractors say that. Well, I don't go to Waterford, I don't go to Lyme. I mean, it's hard to tell whose leaves they are too.
But we're not concerned about whose leaves it is. Just
No.
matters that the contractor's from East Lyme, correct? So, like, they can go through
Now
quickly.
yeah.
Okay, that's, I just want to make
Negative
sure.
rate.
You want to.
There's going to be a list of landscaping contractors that are incorporated and pay taxes in East Lyme. We know who they are. You just look
Perfect.
them up. And those ones would, when they come in, you'd see them. They would, whatever the fee is, they'd pay 50% of it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm still, I didn't mean to interrupt. Oh, you can go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, a big truck, a roll-off, the maximum price that that person would pay would be $75,
Yes,
no matter how big it was.
correct.
So that person can come to the landfill once a day. Whereas the little East Lyme contractor, it may take them 4, 5, 6 trips a day to match up what the big roll-off guy can bring.
If you're talking of a 40 cubic yard, then most of those box trucks are probably got 4, 6, 8 yards on them, so 4 to 5 more loads.
So doesn't that put the local person at a disadvantage because they've got to make 4 or 5 trips?
The only thing is, we could raise the $75. I was trying to put an upper limit of it. You could make it 150. This board could make it 200, and then that would go away. But at some point in time, this is not some trying to bonanza fees. It's trying to discourage large amounts of leaves from going there, dense leaves.
I know, but we're also trying to remain a small town and help our small business people instead of the big-time contractors.
And that's why we were trying to give a 50% discount.
But my point is that the big guy pays $75 for a load. The little guy has to come 5 or 6 times, and it's true gets 50% reduction, but they've got to come 5 or 6 times. I guess I just don't really get the concept yet as to how this is. It's 50%, but that means that the little guy's going to have to register his truck 4 or 5 times during the day to get the credit for the whole day.
We weren't planning on doing we don't have to charge anything. It just, there's costs up there. It just, if every time we log someone in and have to like write it down and stuff like that, it could be more confusing to the staff up there. Usually when they go in there, they got to run the credit card. They don't put it on tabs. We don't keep anyone's credit cards. We don't write down little tabs of, okay, this contractor has been 5 loads. So we're trying to come up with some reasonable approach that the answer to that is to raise the max amount. But I don't think anyone wants to specifically do that, because other than that, is the low, if you're gonna be taking four, I don't know another way to do it, but I guess we could go back to the drawing board.
Well, more and more we see the little guys being bumped out by the big guys with roll-offs. And I don't know how many of these local businesses we have left, but they're dwindling. And these, you know, are longtime residents, lifelong residents, running small businesses, and I just hate to see it happen.
One of the things I think might happen is that the big roll-offs are not gonna go to East Lyme. They're gonna go to Waterford, because they're not charging. And they're gonna say, the
Oh, I
leaves are
thought that
from.
they were coming here because they weren't.
Waterford's not charging. They think it's a good idea. I'm talking to staff, but Waterford doesn't charge anything.
Oh, so
And they're absolutely inundated, and they spend tens of thousands of dollars getting rid of their leaves every year.
Right. And you don't have the manpower, you don't have the stuff to do that.
We don't have the
I get
budget
it.
to be doing that, but that's probably what's gonna happen, is if we start charging, they're gonna go to another town. That's what happens. They'll find somewhere else to bring the leaves, and they can't go to New London, because New London isn't taking it.
Doesn't take it.
Roseanne, do you have anything additionally?
No, I'm still still trying to process this and thinking about how I'm going to vote.
I see.
So go ahead.
Okay. I understand your frustration. I get it, and I see it, and I want to help, and I also want to help our people.
Correct.
And I also want to make money. So I want to. The last time you were here, and we had some visitors, some other contractors were here. My understanding was that people were dumping their leaves here because they couldn't in other places. That was my
They
understanding.
can't dump in New London.
Okay, so it's only in New London. And my other understanding was that these larger roll-offs were coming in. And my thought then, and still is that if we're charging 75, charge them more. That's my thought. That is my thought, okay? And it's okay if people don't agree, it's okay. If they're gonna come in, charge them more. And if they don't wanna pay it, then they can go to Waterford for free and dump it over there, and they can deal with the leaf situation and rolling them and doing all the things that you need to do. That's my one thought. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Just so I understand what you're saying, because I think I'm on the same page you are.
Okay.
All right. So you're saying charge the
large
more.
I believe that's
but
what
then
you
what
call
would
them,
you be
correct?
charging?
You could just take the max limit out, and then Mrs. Hardy's issue goes away, because the person bringing 40 yards and the person bringing a smaller amount, the person bringing a smaller amount, the person's bringing 40 yards is going to get a $300 bill.
Yeah, and that's what she's saying,
But I think
absolutely,
they're
and that's
gonna-
what we're
that's
trying to
a
avoid.
large
And,
no-brainer.
and I just want to be very clear about
That's
the
why I
whole
was
fee
trying to put a max limit on
situation, because I'm having trouble at this point supporting any type of fee increases, because we've had other people coming in recently, business owners, that are very concerned about the fees that are multiplying, because it's not one fee that will go up the $10 or the $15. It's the multiple fees that are going up, and they're becoming so harsh on businesses and in even just residential. So I'm looking at the new garbage or recycling can lid. So we have a machine that picks up the garbage cans, right?
Correct.
They lift them up, and what happens to the lid? The lid opens and it bangs, right? And it gets damaged. So
yeah.
people aren't going around, they're damaging their lids. They're getting damaged because, in my opinion, when they're getting picked up over and over and over. So then we're going to charge them $40. Mattresses. I don't even know if you can give away a mattress. Isn't it illegal to give away a mattress or sell a mattress? I don't even know. I just know
You can't sell a mattress.
You can't sell a mattress. Okay. So then you're stuck with a mattress, and then you've got to bring it to the dump, and it's $40. It just seems like it's it's like we're nickeling and diming our people. So if people are coming in and they're dumping leaves from other areas or whatever, I say we up the fee. For non-residents, for Park and Rec, up the fee. But when it comes to our local people, I'm concerned about upping the fees. So at this point, unless somebody has a real good argument for me, I'm not gonna be supporting, any fee
Well, I
increase.
want to go back to this, because if we go with the idea of upping the fee for the big commercial haulers, and let's say we go up and charge them $100,
Correct.
then with a 50% reduction, that increases our
The 50% reduction could be, you could have a contractor in East Lyme that has a 40-yard roll-off that's going there with a large thing, they would get 50% off. So 50% off, it doesn't matter what it is, it's just 50% off.
Right, but I'm saying if we raise the fee for the commercial leave, then that will, because we said in the formula we were going to do a 50% reduction. If the fees increased, then the 50% is going to increase also.
Understood, so can we change the reduction to a larger reduction, therefore then the East Lyme contractor would have more of an advantage and the non-resident contractor would pay more?
Pay more?
Does that make, are you,
I don't know.
are you following me?
Yes, I
Roseanne?
am, but I'm kind of looking.
Oh, I'm with you for non-resident.
So could we increase the amount for these large roll-offs that come in from out of town? Can we increase that? And then for East Lyme contractors, maybe instead of a 50%, maybe give them a 75% break? Is that something that's reasonable?
If the local contractor has a 40-yard roll-off, you give
Yeah.
them the 75% discount.
Oh.
See, that, it just,
Yeah.
I just need direction of what you guys want, because you guys set the
I
fees.
have an idea now, so.
Okay.
Just make the roll-off $100. And no discount for roll-off. In or out.
Because it's a bigger-
He's making a profit off that.
$100 flat fee
Yeah.
For a roll-off.
If it's 75 now.
for a 40-yard or a 20-yard, or because McCaffrey said he runs 20 yards, we get 40 yards, so it's like that's double the amount of leaves. So that's what, there's a lot of things in play here.
Just following you. Just
Sure.
A roll-off, $100.
Non-resident, you're
Non-resident or resident, it's $100, it's a flat fee. Because that's a profit center for you. You're picking those leaves up, you're making a profit on those if you have a roll-off. And then the smaller guy, come on in. And if you're not, whatever. But I hear what she's saying. I kind of agree with that. And we're talking, and the discount was wonderful. We're talking small dollars here. But they do that. They do add up after a while. I mean, if you look at all the monthly bills we get right now, I mean, from cable, the phone, the taxes, everything will just pretty soon you get whacked. And now we're talking electricity.
Well, one thing, and I hear what you guys are saying, and I completely understand. Just to let you know, when we increase the fees of transportation, I get it and so like that. When we're increasing the fees for the bulky waste, we're trying to keep up with all the rising fees, so we're not trying to make money and make this a profit center or something like that. We're trying to do it so when we come back in budget time, I'm not asking for more money. Because it's not how much you spend, it's how much you spend minus how much you come in is net. So we've been pretty good about that. And I just have one comment about the lids. I get it. We all give them free. I love giving them free. I don't have a budget line for it. So that's going to be a $6,000 budget line. So just remember that I tried to get something to pay for the lids, because you don't buy 10 lids at a time. We go through about 200 lids a year. So 200 lids, $35, $7,000.
Now, right now,
We're not.
if you have a new bin, then
You get a lid.
you get a lid. And there's no fee for that.
To get a new can?
No.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a new can and it's damaged.
Comes with a lid.
Yes,
You pay $110 for a new can.
right. And then that's supposed to be good for a certain period of time.
12 years.
How much?
12 years. If it's under warranty, you get a free one. The problem is that the East Lyme garbage program is now 22 years into the days of the pay-as-you-throw. So there's a lot of cans out there 20 years old. So someone comes in and says that your garbage can destroyed my lid. We look up the records. It's a 22-year-old can, 19-year-old can. We can't just continue to keep giving cans, but we can. I just will budget that. So that will be an item that we'll have to do it because the people want new cans, and we fly through cans. We fly through cans, we fly through lids. We're replacing them a lot, and we actually go to the house and replace it right on for it and take the old can away, take the old lid away.
Joe, do you mind if I ask you a question? So the last time when everybody was in, I had asked if we could have a smaller meeting to kind of go over some of like these questions, like what about this and what about that, and what if we were to do it this way or that way. Did you ever have that meeting?
I reached
no?
out. I did not have a meeting in person,
Mm.
and I apologize. I didn't realize I did send an email to two of the Board of Selectmen members and kept them in the loop as far as an email to the landscaping contractors, Mr. McCaffrey, Mr. Spakowski, Mr. Carlson, and Mr. Nieblon came to the last meeting. I reached out to all of them, copied the Board of Selectmen so they saw it and asked, what do you guys think? What is it fair? Mr. Spakowski actually said the exact same thing that he said tonight, so good for him. He reached out. The other, I don't know what Mr. Carlson, he didn't reach out to me. The other two said that they understood what we were doing and they appreciated the 50% discount.
Okay. Did you get a response from the from Dan and from the other board member that you reached out to?
They did say that they appreciated we were keeping them in the loop.
Okay.
But there was no meeting.
Okay. Because I feel like we need to come to some sort of agreement, right? And I am really concerned with increases after increases after increases. And this has actually gotten the most conversation about fees, where Mr. Furman had sent a letter, I think once or twice, and even came in here, and there had been no discussion. But I think that there's an issue with the fee increase. So we have to try to mediate and help.
I have to say something that might complicate an already complicated issue, but
I wouldn't do that.
I would. I'll just watch.
Oh, geez.
So Rhode Island tried to set up a tolling system whereby they would only charge out-of-state trucks, and they set up the gantries and invested all this money in the apparatus and infrastructure. And a federal court judge ruled that it was unconstitutional because it was discriminatory. I'm wondering if perhaps not a federal court judge would have to get involved, but if we're setting up some kind of discriminatory, illegal system.
Well, we do this for the town, the beach stickers. If you're a resident, you get a certain charge. If you're non-resident, you get a different charge, and part of that is a discount because you live in East Lyme. So I think that's really what this is going toward.
I agree. If you're an East Lyme person, you're already a taxpayer.
Exactly.
You're already a taxpayer.
You're subsidizing the operation.
Yeah, exactly.
What if around was inter versus intrastate commerce act? There's inter and intra.
Correct.
And that was what that was about.
I would defer to my attorneys on the board.
It's very good.
It's
nice to have that.
So what if you did? Dan was saying, change it to $100 max and do the 75% reduction for the East Lyme contractors. Is that anything that people would get behind? Because
well, we do have a contractor here. Do you mind?
I want to no fee for Mason dumps. You roll fees you want on roll-offs.
Okay.
You do have to specify roll-offs. Roll-offs come in 20 yards. They come in. Mr.
Cover the
McCaffrey was
roll-off.
here. He's a local contractor. He says he uses a 20-yard roll-off.
Yeah.
Some of them go 40 yards. So you can't just set a price for roll-off unless you just want to. Because then, why am I paying $100 for a 20-yard roll-off when that guy's paying for 40-yard roll-off? So, I mean, we could start getting prices for every size roll-off and stuff like that. It does. It's like an onion. It keeps peeling back.
Well, how difficult is it for you to track that?
What's that?
What if we just said if it's a 40-yard roll-off, you pay $100?
is that the largest roll-off there is?
Yes.
And then what are the other sizes?
20. Mr. McCaffrey, the McCaffrey Property Services says he uses 20. We see some of the 30. There's actually 10-yard roll-offs.
But so then, if it's what if we just said if it's a 40-yard roll-off, you're paying $100. We don't care where you're from, East Lyme, anywhere, it's $100. But if you're an East Lyme contractor then we'll cut you you get a 75% break
On everything else?
on everything else.
What is that?
Wait, would you charge them for the roll-up
down to
$100
that.
then if they're
It's
from
negligible.
East
I
Lyme?
charge-
It sounds nice.
I think
I
any,
don't know what it looks
because they're
like.
making so much profit out of 40, I mean, I think that that's fair, even if it's from East Lyme. And I don't think there's very many 40-yard roll-offs in East Lyme contractors.
Well, we've got
We'd
the
probably
expert.
get-
Yeah, Paul, are there many?
There's enough. I mean, that's the biggest bulk of the leads come from roll-offs.
And are there East Lyme contractors that use the 40-yard roll-offs?
Yes, and they come in droves. I mean, you might not have a lot of 40-yard roll-offs, but they might bring it up there, 10 times a season. They're using it as their storage area and then getting it out to, let's give it to the town of East Lyme, they can play with it for 3 years.
So if we did do that, would that help? Or
Yeah,
no?
I mean, it
Or
would-
not so much?
What?
Is it gonna help you?
It would hopefully deter them from bringing in there. We have an issue up there. It's just, the stuff has to leave.
That's good too, though, right?
What's that?
That's good too, that deters them from bringing it in there, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's
Okay.
much a
You go to Waterford,
deterrence.
right?
Right. So
So it's an avoidable problem if you're a contractor. You can go to Waterford with a 40-yard roll-off. If you're a local East Lyme contractor, if you got a 40, you're going to pay the full boat. But if you got something less than that, then we cut you a break. We try to take care of our East Lyme contractors, charge them 75% of what it would be.
So, we could do that. Someone could go in with a 30-yard roll-off, get a 75% deduction, and I just said, I only paid $10 and that guy paid $100. It's just, it's
Yeah,
kinda
no, I
hard.
see what
There's-
you're saying.
there's
It's not
30-yard.
different.
It's not making sense what we're saying.
It's
No.
just people have 30-yard roll-offs, and it's 30-yard. The problem with, you just can't say roll-off.
Yeah,
And I
because it's
understand
different.
Mr. Spagowski
And you-
say, there's 10-yard roll-offs. 10-yard roll-off might have less leaves than a big box truck.
Right.
Isn't that fair? A small 10-yard roll-off is probably the same or less than a big, the box truck's about 12 feet tall. Packed with gills.
About double. It's double.
So there's three things going on. We want to deter the big roll-offs from other towns coming in and dumping at East Lyme. And we want to help and encourage our smaller contractors to be able to be more profitable. And so how do we balance it? How do we,
There's a solution.
all right,
2.5 cents for all roll-offs.
what's that?
2.5 cents for all roll-offs. That's it. That's actually what Mr. Spakowski said. But 2.5 cents for all. It doesn't matter if it's 20-yard, 30-yard, 40-yard. It's just 2.5 cents, whatever. With maybe a maximum of 100. Now you're just charging roll-off. So that would deter. There's no doubt about it that the big amounts of leaves coming in are roll-off. So you just charge. The sign would say roll-off. Any kind of roll-offs is 2.5 cents, max 100.
2.5 cents what? What's the
Pound,
unit?
a pound.
Per pound.
Okay, thanks, okay.
What, 2.5 cents?
Perfect.
And that's for everybody?
Yeah, for everyone.
Okay, and then what do we?
I wouldn't even put an East Lyme contractor discount because if they're bringing in roll-offs, they're already maximizing the thing, and then just don't charge anyone else.
Wait, say that again? So
2.5 cents for all roll-offs. It's actually
Per
what
pound.
Mr. Spakowski was saying before.
Okay, yeah,
It just simplifies it from a 20-yard. But if you have a roll-off, it's 2.5 cents,
Okay,
maximum $100.
yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. That's the only people get charged.
And so the mason
The
trucks
bo-
or the boxes, they don't get charged?
It sounds to me like we're trying to nickel and dime, so I'd rather not
Only
go
for
down
East
that.
Lyme contractors.
Only for East Lyme contractors?
They don't get charged.
Right.
Oh, so everyone else outside contractors?
Correct.
Okay.
So East Lyme contractors,
Go back to the
mason
50.
trucks, smaller trucks. don't
Anything
get
like is that is 50 cents? I mean 22.5 cents up to a max, or
well, so
so yeah.
you're
What
saying,
do you want to do with everything else?
all right, wait, hang on. a
Oh,
minute.
sorry, Joe.
Let's-
But we do roll-offs and East Lyme contractors. So East Lyme contractors are free. The small trucks are free.
Well,
And
if you're an East Lyme contractor and you bring roll-offs, you're paying 2.5 cents
Right.
Yeah,
up to a max of 100.
Right.
There's no
Yes,
discount
that-
for a roll-off.
Correct, because he's in the business, he's making a profit on that. And
Yeah.
so, the guy that's picking up 4 yards worth of leaves on Woodland Drive in Black Point, he's an East Lyme contractor, his business here, he picked up leaves, he comes through.
Free of charge.
Yeah,
But out of town contractors, 2.5
that's
cents.
what we gotta think, you gotta think of a number, you gotta think of a number there.
Well,
Yeah.
Wait,
we
wait,
really
wait.
need, we really need to make the
All right.
move on this soon. I mean,
Keep it
because,
simple.
So
Okay,
if it's-
she's right, 2.5 cents.
so keep the same number for so
Yeah.
out-of-town contracts, 2.5 cents.
So
For
you're
everyone
saying
else.
2.5 cents per pound for max 100 for roll off, and 2.5 cents for out of town, and then 2.5 cents for any other
Out-of-town
out of
contractors,
town, whatever size.
but if you're below a roll-off
it's 2.5 cents per pound.
and you're East Lyme contractor, you don't pay.
You don't pay.
That's what I heard.
If you're not a roll off, then you don't pay for an East Lyme contractor.
Right.
If you're, okay.
Yeah.
But if you're,
And by this, they have to be incorporated in East Lyme.
Correct.
Yeah, you gotta be
The
an East Lyme
contractor that's
contractor.
paying, their trucks and stuff,
Okay.
are getting paid to East Lyme.
So if
Yeah,
you're
I
a
understand.
5-yard mason truck with a box on it and you're an East Lyme contractor,
You don't get
you
charged.
you don't get charged. If
We
you're,
have a list of all the
it
contractors.
doesn't
Okay.
matter, it doesn't matter where the leaves come from.
We don't ask.
Yeah, we don't
It-
care.
It doesn't
Okay.
matter. It doesn't matter because
Good.
it's not worth the
Good.
time to chase it.
Thank you.
Now wait,
Okay.
let me ask you this question, okay? If we're on the same page, does this schedule of fees, does this cover will this cover your costs?
It would certainly help because I think it's hard to tell because I'm not sure how much this is going to deter the big trucks from coming in, and we almost need a year, the whole season, to find out how much income this comes in. But there is a cost to that, so I can't answer it, but it will certainly help. And we can quantify it. One of the things we can do is report back to you come December of how much revenue came in and how many trucks. We will weigh. One thing I would like to ask is we're going to weigh all these trucks as they come in, just to know what they are.
yeah.
But they're getting it for free because we want to know. The problem is if you don't have the data, I can't give it to you how much we're talking about. All I'm doing is guessing.
And I think $100 is a good pain level because
It's easy.
He's not going to drive somewhere else to go do it. At the same time, when I was on the Harbor Management Commission, we went from mooring fees, Joe, from $25 to $100. Not one person bitched because a dock line could cost $100.
Yeah.
And we provided them a mooring fee, a place to keep the boat, it's safe, and we thought people were going to scream and yell. No, it wasn't. So now we got a new software program installed. The department is self-sufficient because of the money we generated from that. So, and I think this would be simple for you too. The $100 fee. It may chase a few people away. Good for you. Also, a lot of people say it's better for me to come there and just drop $100. I'll get it in the profit. Okay, and it's still better for me at 4 miles per gallon to come bring it here. So on fuel, but in 2.5 cents,
Okay, and does this also then make it easier for the people at the
scales.
at the scales and at the dump?
So long as as long as we're clear with them what it is, and then
Yeah.
they'll know how to deal with it. They just need to know how to. They can't just I know you. You're nothing. I don't know you. It has to be clear. There's a list of
Yeah,
East Lyme
be a list.
contractors.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a clear direction from you guys. If you want me to repeat it, I can repeat exactly what I got. But I think
Sure.
you could. So it's all roll-offs. It's 2.5 cents, max of $100 fee, no discounts.
correct.
Anything below roll-off, it's 2.5 cents for an out-of-town contractor, no cost to an East Lyme contractor.
Hold on.
Did I
Yep.
say that correctly?
100%.
And you weigh all trucks regardless. And I weigh all the
Yep.
trucks and give you the data at the budget season. Because when I come and report to you, I can kind of have a better idea.
Yeah, and then-
this 45 minutes of our life, I can tell you some data based on.
And then if you're really losing money, then we can modify.
revisit. We can
revisit it and modify
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
For the following season.
I like this approach.
It's not, we don't lose money, we just have to ask for more money.
Well,
So
that's what I mean, like,
yeah,
depending how much,
we're
because,
trying to
we're
keep
trying
a net
to.
neutral as much as possible, and that's why
Understood.
I don't like nickel and diming, but the fees at the transfer station are been raising to
No.
commensurate so that
Everything.
our bottom line is not high, but we certainly can keep the fees down. Our fees are right in line, if not a little higher than some of the other towns, but when I talked to the other towns, they were like, oh, well, we should have done that.
Yeah,
They're
I just don't
they're-
want it to be on the backs of our people, and I don't think you do either.
No,
I just,
I'm a
just
resident too. I
Yeah,
get
I
I
mean,
get it. I
it's-
just know
everything
that's
is
happening
really-
to our people, and
Yeah.
I know what a day in middle of November when you have these huge trucks come in, but the roll-offs are, and Mr. Spagowski, right? It is frustrating because they're playing like
Yeah.
It's not a fair game with a smaller contractor.
Right.
I think this evens the playing field a little bit, and it's fair to the people that work here and have businesses here, and
$100 is
it's
sufficient.
still an income stream, it's still a
Yeah.
revenue stream, and it's a deterrent. It meets all the three things that I was concerned about, so I'm
Yeah.
happy with that.
I'm guessing
So
you'll,
now, are
I'm
these gonna
guessing
be
you'll
in
probably have about
separate
10,000.
motions? Because now, what
Wait,
about
wait.
the garbage and recycling
Yeah,
and
how
the
we do
mattress?
Hang on one second. Joe, what did
I'm
you
guessing
say?
it'll probably be about probably $8,000 to $10,000 in revenue. So that's not chump change.
I like it
What's
to be
that, for
separate.
the lids?
No, these fees is probably about that much in revenue, which is
Yeah.
that's helpful to the
Yeah,
town.
of course.
Okay, good. All right, so what else then?
So
Was
we have
there?
an initial motion, seconded, discussion. We have the $40 garbage lids, we have the non-recyclable mattress fee, and now we have this new schedule payment.
Yeah.
So should we redo a motion
Yes.
or amend?
I would say yes, and
What are
I'd
we
be in
doing with
favor of
the?
being separate, because
I
Yeah,
think
what
it
do we-
would be clearer if we just made it into one motion.
Okay, but do we need to discuss, because I don't know if we're clear on the new garbage or recycling can lid? I wasn't sure what people were saying about that.
I would defer to Mr. McGraw's judgment on this. I mean, he's got the bird's eye view of the whole situation.
Yeah.
We have
It's
a
pretty
lot
fair.
of
I mean-
we have a lot of lids going out, and I have no budget line for it. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up that if there's not some kind of mechanism, there's going to be a budget line. It's not there now, but there's going to have to be a budget line because, as I said, you don't buy 10 lids at a time in this town. You buy 200. 200 times $35 is $6,000, $7,000, and it's not there in the budget.
Okay. Do you give out that many lids?
Oh, yeah, they go out a lot.
You do, okay.
I've had one in 20 years.
So
Yeah,
have
me
I.
too.
So that's why,
Well,
yeah.
And it was
we-
like
we
a
have
year
a-
of duct tape. and then
We
I just
probably
went,
have
"No."
about 10,000 cans out there. So 200, 300 out of 10,000. That's not that much.
You gotta take care of your lids.
Yeah, people got to take care of your trash cans. everyone.
So
It's
how?
not us.
It's not us.
The people in this town, and I'm one of them as well, we're not paying for trash
Yeah.
pickup. It's in the taxes. A lot of towns, it's not, Montville's not in taxes, so that it's great value. We're asking just, can you pay for the cost
Yeah, I
of
don't,
your
I mean,
can?
it's so rare that you have to replace, it's not gonna make or break
Oh, I
anybody.
gotta get a phone call. You gotta get a phone call from a neighbor. Not on board of selectmen. You gotta get a phone call from a neighbor. I didn't break it.
Excuse me.
I didn't break it.
All right.
Do you
And
want-
what I'm saying is,
do you
we'll
want me
take
to
the.
make the motion?
Yeah, why don't,
It's 9:07, which is fine with me. This is minutia, but this is gonna start something here as far as us taking a look at things like this to save the taxpayer money.
And just to add, that's why I asked for a separate meeting. That way, all that minutia that you just stated is discussed and ready, and it comes, and boom, then you move forward. So I would have loved to have
Yeah.
all this conversation and the
Yeah,
what
no, I
ifs and
get it.
this, and hey, you know what? I really don't like that you want, not you personally, but another fee for a recycling can lid that's getting damaged because the garbage can is picking it up and it's getting hit. And then the non-recyclable mattress. Or, you know what, maybe that wouldn't even been part of the motion if you had had a meeting and you had the opportunity to sit here and have the conversations versus doing it at 9:15 at night. It's just my
well, we can't have a
Okay,
meeting.
and if it's gonna be
there's a
part of
quorum,
a
then we have
whole
problem.
motion,
Exactly.
I'm glad that we changed it, but I'm not in favor of two things on this motion. So now I have to say no to the whole entire motion because it's wrapped up into one.
Okay, so why don't we make
We'll do separate
3
motions.
separate motions?
three separate
That's all, and
That's
then
easy.
everybody
Perfect.
can
Is that
vote the
better?
way they want
That
to.
is perfect.
Okay,
That's what we want.
I'll make, so the other motion, I will withdraw the other motion.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next motion we're gonna do is move to approve the following fee. $40 for a new garbage or recycling can lid.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we beat it up pretty good, all right. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We have one opposed. Okay, but the motion carries.
All right. Move to approve $40 for a non-recyclable mattress.
Second.
We have a second. All right, any further discussion? All right, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have one opposed, okay? Motion carries.
This is the big one. You got it all the pieces?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, all right.
Yeah,
You have
she
it?
wrote
You have it?
Okay.
You want to recite it?
Do you want to say it?
Yes, you'll pay attention, make sure I
Yeah, I'll listen, but
So.
it's late.
The following fees, 2.5 cents per pound and a max of $100 for all roll-off trucks, no discounts.
Correct.
Below the roll-off size truck is 2.5 cents per pound for out-of-town contractors. No fees for local contractors.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I would.
You have to
You
second
can't
it.
make the motion.
No,
So you're adopting.
yeah,
the
so
motion.
I'll adopt what you just said, and you can second it.
Well, can we add
Oh,
local contractors? You said incorporating in East Lyme. Is that more
Yes,
specific
yeah.
language?
That's
That's
we're going
the-
to see that as a local contractor, as
Okay.
one that pays
And
taxes.
also just some kind of language in there about weighing all trucks to gather data to see if this is going to be doable for everyone. I don't know. Is that worth
I think
putting
he's
in?
just gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't
You have to
think
put
you,
it in
I mean,
motion.
it's up to you,
That's
but
part of
that's,
the-
Yeah.
that's not a fee, the
Okay.
weighing it.
That's just a
So,
procedure.
can we go forward with
Yeah,
the
we can
motion as
adopt the motion.
amended?
As amended, okay?
All right,
A second.
We have a second.
all right.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We did it.
And no one's abstaining,
We
so
we
that,
solved
we
it.
did it. Joe, thank you for your help
Thank you, Joe.
and your guidance. I know this was a little bit tedious, but it was
lot.
important, and I'm glad we got it figured out.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So when somebody
Yeah.
says this board doesn't listen,
No, we listen. All right,
tried.
next on our agenda is discussion of possible action, community center fees.
People still here.
$8,000.
I'm sorry, I'm getting tired.
Yeah. Everybody in the
How much
next
did you
line
go
mark,
last year?
Sorry, I just get tired.
Management decision,
Mhm.
and I think we need to do that. We can
Yeah,
make
I
any-
just literally just,
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Okay,
I read through all this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I like that idea. No problem. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
One small step for man.
No.
So whether the Board of Selectmen knew it or not, the town's current policy is that the Board of Selectmen, approves the uses of the community center, outside use of the community center. As you know, there are 3 different entities, well, 4 different entities, 5 now even, holy smokes. We've got the senior center, we've got Parks and Rec, we've got the library, we've got voter registration, and we have youth and family services, all housed in the community center. What you see in front of you is an attempt to consolidate and update language of old community center use forms into a single form that the community can use, and it will provide seamless customer service across the community and consistent use of the community center. Right now, the way it's written, the Board of Selectmen or the first Selectman has to be the one to approve the fee discounts or insurance waivers or things like that. In my mind, that's kind of misplaced responsibility. We have a senior center that operates in its space, is fully capable of, deciding appropriate community uses, Parks and Rec in the same way. So and I think it would be beyond cumbersome if we actually sent people down to the first selectman's office to try to get an answer to use the community center. It just doesn't make good customer service sense. So from that standpoint, what we attempted to do was come up with this form that allows people to fill out a form, submit it to the senior center or to Parks and Rec to get use of the community center for a meeting, a birthday party, a program, a what have you. And the reason I give you a new copy, one of the things that has changed is the senior center no longer wants to have anybody use the kitchen. So I think in your packet, you might have got a form with the kitchen noted there. We removed that. And hearing the discussion on fees as well, I think the discussion on community center fees is best held in the community center with Parks and Rec and with the senior center. Depending on, we set fees for renting pavilions and what people pay to do a program and things like that. This is well within our capabilities, and we're happy to accept that responsibility, relieve any burden that might be on the first selectman's office. And to be honest with you, the past practices, they're not going there anyway. They're kind of coming to us. This is just a matter of kind of housekeeping, cleaning this up, and delivering good customer service. So with that, I can answer any questions that you might have about use of the community center, and certainly Kristen is here as well.
Okay, just looking at the form, first question, is this something that people can fill out online?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a fillable PDF. We could also actually even make it a kind of like an e-form where people would just type it and hit send, and we would get an email with the relevant information.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great. And then you said there would be no kitchen. I'm just reading under senior center, it says meal site after 5 p.m. weekdays. So what?
So yeah,
that
the
mean?
meal site is the actual room where they eat their meals. So, they might
okay,
have a
so-
meeting or something in there. They just won't be
okay.
cooking in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. And then my other question, I don't know if I dare ask this, but
Don't hold back.
I'm going to ask reluctantly, but I'm going to ask anyway. The fee structure for the custodian, is that just to cover their overtime? Is that what
Yes.
that is? I'm
Yes.
assuming?
So
Okay.
anytime that an event would be scheduled in the community center outside of the normal custodial hours, we would be passing that custodial fee along to the renter of the space.
Okay.
Just another way of distributing, that cost to those that are using it.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah,
was
I think
that
you
was
got
That's
it.
exactly it.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any other questions, and I would be in favor of this. I think it's more streamlined, it explains things, and I think it's more accurate.
I agree.
I like the process.
Is this
There's
limited
a
to
process.
East Lyme residents?
Good question.
Not necessarily, no.
What
But you can see, I'm sorry, Roseanne, I don't think on your copy, but on Jason's copy, if you look on that, there's on it might be the third page or the fourth page, there is something that kind of gives a priority level. So certainly town functions are number one, and then it kind of goes down to nonprofits and others. And so out-of-town residents or somebody like that would be kind of at the lowest end of the priority scale in terms of, yeah.
Any further questions, comments? All right, let's put it to a vote.
Did I do a motion?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
Vincent seconded.
No, I
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, no, it's okay. Move to approve the updated facility use form and applicable fees as discussed.
Do we have a second? Any further discussion? All right, being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion carries. Jerry, thank you.
Thank
I know
you.
it's been
Thanks,
a
Jerry.
late night, appreciate
Yeah.
your help on this. All right, next on our agenda is discussion and possible action, Fair Rent Commission. So, we got the ball rolling and we rolled it pretty quickly, but we have to catch up with ourselves a little bit. And you have some people have shown interest, is that right? We're
Correct.
Forming a list?
To be on the commission, and so that's what we need to formulate. I still need to get some others because we need to have a collection of the different party affiliations
Right.
and also landlord tenants. And so that's what we're still trying to put together.
So we've got really three tasks maybe in front of us. One is to assemble a list of potential candidates for the commission, and then to appoint those members. We have to come up with the forms that we need to make it a workable commission. We have to, we already have in mind a staff person to staff it. But we gotta just, we have to nail down all the little bits and pieces to make this a workable process. And not the least of which is establishing an escrow account to escrow money for rent that's paid to us, so we hold. It gets distributed after things are resolved. So we have to have all these features in place. So what I would propose is that we keep working on, and let the public know, anybody that's interested, please in the next week send us your resume and express your interest in being on the commission. And then at our next meeting, let's make it our plan that at the next meeting we actually appoint individuals to the commission, and we have forms in place. We'll try to borrow ideas from other commissions and try to come up with our own, the complaint form and the various other documents we need to make it actually work.
And if people were going to be sending any information in, they would want to include obviously their name, their address, their party affiliation, and if they're a landlord, a tenant, what their homeowner status is, so
Right.
that it's easy for us to see where you would fall in, and to fill in the holes that we have for the committee. And then also a little background to say why you're interested in this, and what your background is, and what you could bring to the table.
I think it's important to also put this on the public that this can't go forward if we don't have commissioners, and we as a body cannot appoint just anyone. There has to be a balance of Republicans and Democrats as per state statute. So our hands are somewhat tied.
Yeah,
but you can help untie them by stepping forward.
May I ask, has anybody put in for it?
I have about I have about 8 names so far.
Oh, you have
but
names, but nothing has come in like
What do you mean?
tangible as far as an email, as far as
Oh
a
yeah, no.
resume?
I've been
Oh.
getting stuff, but I don't have, enough for the full complement.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's.
So now who's going to be is anybody that actually applies to do this, will all of them come forward, or is someone making a choice here and bringing them forward?
We're the people.
So all of them come, because I'm asking because I haven't seen one. So if you have 8, I'd love to see them, because I haven't seen
Well,
one.
what I think what our idea is to assemble. Let's get everybody
assemble them. Yeah.
assemble them, and then once we have the pool, an adequate number, then we'll distribute that resumes and whatever else they say about themselves to the entire board, so we'll have a chance to review it, and then at our next meeting 2 weeks from now, then we'll be able to go through it and decide amongst us who would make a good panel.
And then if somebody wants to come and talk at the next meeting, then they can come and speak.
Like we can get forms developed and we can start.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start working.
We've got to
on
start working on all that.
It's not a
yeah.
complete holdup. But
No.
No.
we just need-
We've got to.
It's not the critical path, in the world of perk charts. Okay.
Just
so-
really quick, at the end of the meeting, we're going to have an opportunity for someone to say something, or no? There's somebody in the audience that wants to say something.
Oh, there is public comment?
So there is public comment at the end.
Yeah, at the end, yeah, we'll have.
So there is going to be a moment, yes.
So I think-
Soon. It's coming soon.
So I think we'll table appointments to the Fair Rent Commission until the next meeting, and then the next meeting, I think we should be able, hopefully, the goal will be to flesh out the entire commission at that next meeting, and all the members of the Board of Selectmen will have had a chance in advance to review those that are interested. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah.
Yeah, can I ask one question of Attorney Sibilia? Just,
Yeah.
I had a person that was very interested ask about their liability by being on the commission, individual liability. Are there decisions binding and that's it, no appeal process, whatever? If you have a complaint and you come up to an agreement, is any one commissioner, can they be held liable?
No.
Before you respond, here's the thing. I would want, Beth is not here as an attorney.
Yeah.
So I would not want her to give a legal opinion.
Expertise in her, okay, got it,
Right.
thank you.
Maybe we can do that offline.
Yeah, if somebody,
yeah.
but if somebody is on the committee, it's like any other commission. If you have a bias or something, then you would recuse yourself.
Right.
If it concerns you,
Understand
or
that.
you have that.
Right.
So, but if there is any kind of, like, if there's an issue, say with the inland wetlands, then the Inland Wetlands Agency is the one who gets sued, or the town of East Lyme Inland Wetland Agency is, if there's an appeal, it goes against the town. So it doesn't go against individuals. Yeah, that's not how it works. Okay, does that make sense?
So it
Okay.
wouldn't necessarily be individual unless
Yeah.
there was gross,
I just want to be clear too,
Yeah.
I asked about the submissions because I did think that tonight we would be voting on, and whether or not it was going to be the entire committee or not, I just felt like we were going to have some sort of progress and have, be appointing at least some. So, I mean, the process, I feel like maybe it would have been nice to have a few, or is it?
No, and here's the reason.
Yep.
So you really have to have all the cards in front of you.
Okay.
Because you have to balance, all right, we got a Republican here that's a landlord, or we have a Democrat here that's, we have to have all the various individuals. We don't want to use up some of the slots and then say, oh gee, I wish we had. So I think what we should do is have the entire inventory of individuals that have expressed an interest, the background, the bits of information we need to have, and then we can decide all at once. I just think that would be the better way to do it.
Okay.
Rather than piecemeal.
All right.
That was the only reason for it. We're not trying to, certainly not trying to delay the process.
No,
Just
I
wanna
don't
get
think
it right in the
no,
most
I don't think
efficient
so, I just.
Yeah, no, but I
And
understand.
normally we don't
I
have it
I
as
understand your
many
concern.
different boxes that we have to check off.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
That's part of it.
It's a little tricky.
It
so
is a little.
We'll have a little matrix or something made
Yeah.
up so we can figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll table appointments to the Fair Rent Commission till next time. So now we're on to ex officio reports. Do we have any? No.
Save me interest of time, skip it.
We can, I don't have anything. Anyone want to report? No? Roseanne, we good?
Somebody wanted to say something. Oh, she's still here. Okay.
Yeah, the lady in the blue sweater.
Yeah, we're just, this is ex officio. We're not,
I just wanted to ask if will you post it somewhere so people will know that you're looking for people to be on this Fair Rent Commission?
I can't hear.
oh, it,
Big poster.
Will you post the fact that you're looking for people to be on the commission somewhere?
I don't know where, yeah.
I think on the town website would be a great
Yeah, maybe we can do that. All right, let's make
idea,
sure that happens.
or maybe even the, what's that thing called?
Or we
The
can put it on the
automated
board too.
Board, outside might be another option. And I know that
Yeah.
you have done that, so I think that that's a great idea. I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, we'll try to get the word out there, and you know what, word of mouth is good too, if there's, yeah, okay.
Will you list the candidates at the next meeting?
We will discuss those, yeah, that's what we'll do at the next meeting.
That's the hope.
That's, yeah, we hope.
And I'll reach out to everybody and say if you'd like to come to the next meeting, they can speak. And that way then we'll have their resume and they can also speak. And then that way that will help us make a decision.
So timeline, what are you thinking that before it's really up and running? A month or?
Love to see it happen by the end of, if we can appoint the commission by next week, at our next meeting, and then make sure they have all the materials, and, they're gonna need some training a little bit too,
They would need the training.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
optimistic would be, the end of the month. That's optimistic, but
Yeah.
that's what we're trying for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you for your interest.
So next meeting.
All right, any ex officio reports? No, I don't have any. No? Okay, we'll pass that. I will pass, I already said what I wanted to say before when the fire chief and deputy were here. Any communications? Not aware. Any public comment?
Can I just do a quick ex officio? And
Yeah,
I just want to
of
bring it
course.
up really fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did attend, and I just want to bring this up. Inland Wetlands meeting last night, September 3rd, and there's an application for a proposed light manufacturing facility of approximately 185,000 to 215,000 square feet with, I think it's 369 parking spaces and a retaining wall. So it's right by Costco. And I just wanted the public to be aware of this because there weren't really many people there. And there's also, I guess they will be going through zoning. And there's also an issue that they're going to have with water and sewer because they do need some sewer capacity. But I just really wanted to bring that out.
Thank you.
I thought that
That's
was
important.
I thought that was important for
Absolutely.
everybody to know.
Yep.
So I didn't mean to delay
No,
the
no,
meeting,
that's-
but I just thought that was important.
That is important, thank you.
Sure.
Has it been to planning?
Not that I'm aware of, they're trying to go at to different places now, so.
I'm ex officio planning, no.
Okay. Yeah, so I just thought that, yeah, the public should be aware of that, because it's a big thing, and they don't know what light manufacturing entails, so it's, you know.
Must entail something with 300 and something parking spaces.
Lightweight.
No, light manufacturing, so I don't know. Originally,
Not heavy industrial, as opposed to heavy industrial, light manufacturing.
yeah, but you don't know what that entails. I don't know.
We'll find
So,
out.
yeah.
It won't be a 50-ton forge, it'll be something with time machine,
Yeah.
form a machine shop.
So,
We'll see what it is. We have no idea what it is.
yeah.
All right, okay. Any other ex officio? I didn't mean to rush by it, I just.
No, that was the only thing,
Okay.
Nora, that was the only really important thing I just wanted to bring up.
All right. Communications? Any public comment? Any additional public comment? All right, there'll be no selectmen's response. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn the September 4th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 9:29 PM.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. All right, we're off the